Hello, everybody. We're back.
This is a safe space.
Is it?
I
It's
just
not. I will judge what you say.
I just need to escape for an hour.
So, I'm really hoping that I Don't Speak English show is going to be a space to have conversation.
As a creator, I want to look at something and say, okay, what are people really fucking going through right now? Like, what are they actually going through?
What are you running
She's
from?
a psycho. I've been telling
What
you.
are you running from?
Right.
What are you running
Where are
from?
you running from? So I think this is the year of reckoning.
Yes.
You know, and I think everyone better get ready. And I always say,
Nobody knows you. Nobody knows the show. Hello, everybody. I'm keeping the shoulder movement when I do this. Happy New Year. Happy February.
Happy New Year.
Happy Chinese Year. It's the Year of the Dragon.
I love
Cisco's
that.
here. Cisco's the dragon. As you guys recognize, the voice and the accent. But my voice is not broken today. I'm a little bit under the weather. No, it's not COVID. It's your girl KT. This is episode 3 of the I Don't Speak English show. Again, this is a place for conversation. We want to talk about hot topics, things you talk about in your group chat with your grandma in the car, with your best friends. And after 2 very successful episodes, episode 1 and 2 were great. We're celebrities. We're Emmy winners. No, we're not. I also want to bring more things because this is a new year. Hopefully you all had amazing holidays. You all had an amazing break. I know I did. If you follow us on TikTok, I was in Amsterdam. And I did tease that I may have been in a window or not. That was my plan. Baby,
I'm crying.
I'm not going to say if I was not. But Amsterdam loved me and I loved them back. But one thing I realized when I was away on vacation is that number 1, I needed a break. Baby, I was just so freaking tired. And also, I'm trying not to curse much because my babies really want to watch the episodes. So I'm like, well, fuck them kids, but but we will attempt to not curse too much. Although some of these topics are going to be grown. So while I Don't Speak English show was a podcast where I wanted for us to have conversations. Again, there are a million different podcasts out there, but I have realized that this low-key, this new thing about like people are literally telling podcasters shut the fuck up. There is an entire movement online about please, can we make microphones and studio time $1,000? Because we're tired of your host talking about me and my man. We're having sex because I had BV and he was fine because he fucked me through the smell. Why?
BB.
Why? No, really, why? Most recently, there was somebody talking about, well, you know, because I fucked my cousin and technically it's okay because even though he's my cousin, like incest is never cool. I'm also really tired of some of the men out there telling us how to be women. And I get it. You're tired of us women telling y'all how to be men. So I kind of want to bring some more serious topics. So today, the topics are going to be around community because it's Black History Month. Woo! Shout out to the Negroes. Name one Black person right now.
Why you put me outside? You.
The default answer
Yes.
is Beyonce Obama,
Beyonce.
right? You gotta like.
And you know what? I'm doing this. I'm sure you guys have seen one of those streets. What do we call them? Those street people. Like, you know, they have a microphone, and it was like for $1, name like Black people, and they were struggling.
Yes.
They said,
And they always say MLK, Oprah, which is okay because I get it. They're like, you know, but I'm like, there are so many other folks. Now, if you ask me to name a few different Black people, I'll probably just name my family members because they're great and they're doing legacy. And yes, I will not say my last name on here, but we is somebody's. And then the other topic will be love because, you know, February. Oh, by the way, by the time this aired, Valentine's Day is over. Although if you're a side chick, your moment is coming. And then last would be safety. It's an election year. Yes, she said it, election year. And I feel like a lot of shit is going to happen. So I'm really hoping that I Don't Speak English show is going to be a space to have conversation that might be, you know, tricky, risky. We don't want to get canceled because we do have regular jobs. And I'm trying to keep that job because I have a shopping problem. I really do. I cannot wait to get my tax money. You know what he's filed? Actually, I filed in January and the federal government wasn't even ready to accept my taxes because they are, baby, she need that money. And also, you know, I buy clothes, but I go nowhere. I stay in my house.
A sala fit. That's what we
Yes.
call a sala fit.
Yes,
okay?
I feel like I want, like old people, I want to be in my house with my pearls and my furs and
Just dressed up,
Just
nowhere to
dressed
go.
Right.
nowhere to go. But I'm trying to be outside. So first, I know it was like a little rant, but you haven't seen me and seen this group for a while. So again, Katie, your main host. We have Danny. And we have one more person on the couch. Yes, we are rotating the folks. I do want to say shout out to Adrienne. He is recovering for knee surgery. Or is it ACL? No, ATL? What is it?
ACL.
ACL. I say ATL. This bitch don't speak English. He's recovering from surgery and he should be back on the couch because we love Mr. Sub Voice. So we see you very soon. But we have Adrienne. Please introduce yourself. Tell the people what you do, who you are, and give us a fun fact about you.
Ooh, okay. So I'm Adrienne. I am a diversity and inclusion practitioner. And
Global.
Put some respect on my name.
Mhm.
Thank you. And an interesting fact about me, I auditioned for a reality show when I was 16.
Which one?
Debbie Allen's Fame. So it was like a singing and dancing competition. But I was only there for the singing part. I wasn't really there for the dancing part. Don't ask me why. But yes.
Wow.
So that's an interesting fact.
It is. She has a very good voice. We like to do fake karaoke at my house or in the car. And she's a dancer. Like she also teaches dance.
Between us, we could
Oh my God. Shall we be a group?
What?
Shall we be a group?
Yes.
I
Fuck
really
this
love that.
podcast. Shall we be a group?
Forget this podcast episode
on
over.
tour, bitch. Thank
We
you.
just
Oh my
uncovered some new things right now. We're gonna pivot.
Wow.
People don't like podcasters anyway.
Yes, but one thing about Adrienne is I've met you. I still don't remember. I feel like I've met you at one of those, Where Are the Black People? Actually, episode 1, we were coming fresh out of Where Are the Black People.
Right.
Who she is literally leading. It's an amazing place for, Black creatives, Black talent. So again, We're All the Black People. It's coming around fall.
Yes,
Right?
September 27th.
Yes. Oh, okay. So
Calendars, thank you.
yes, make sure to check that out and to support. But the reason why I want you to be on the couch is because number one, what you do as a DI expert is very needed. She's a dope Black woman. She's African. She lives in New York. She's always traveling. She used to be Miss Little. I'm at the gym all the time. She did she did have like an injury. So now, because all the time it would be and all the six packs. Meanwhile, I'm at home in my fur by myself.
I'm my fur.
Eating my rice, smoking my blunts. And
But
she's
the
really
body's
fun.
still bodies, though.
Because I've been in the diet since 1998, and now we're going to talk about trends and patterns. Now it's working out, so hopefully I'll start with this little pouch. Also, my ADHD is kicking in. I just found out what FUPA means. You know what FUPA stands for?
I don't know what it stands for. I just know.
Yeah.
I just know.
The meme there.
It's a something in the front.
Do you know what FUPA means?
I forgot what it means, but I know under the
FUPA. FUPA means fat upper pussy area.
Oh.
I just found
Okay,
out
I did.
the definition literally 2 weeks ago. Because I was like, something FUPA. And they're like, yeah, like your fat pussy area. And I was offended. I said, oh, I'm a woman of the Lord.
Not the Lord with a T.
Yeah, I'm a woman of the Lord. And they were like, but that's what it means. And I literally was fighting. And I was like, nah. So then the internet told me it means fat upper pussy area.
I was today years old when.
But it makes
I've been
sense.
casually using FUPA my entire life. Ah! Wow.
And you know what's so crazy? I'll be telling kids, oh my God, you little FUPA. And no. See? That's why I don't speak English, guys.
True, that is your escape clause.
It is.
Lean into it.
Because you know what, though? A lot of things makes no sense. And I am so tired of people acting so smart when they're so dumb. Again, including me. And I think that sometimes I really just want not to listen to people. And I will say, I don't speak English. I don't know what this is. Fun fact, though. Just a lot of fun facts. When I traveled to Europe, so you guys know, we talked about it, played the game. I'm from Paris, born and raised. When I'm in Paris, I never speak French. Ever. Because I've noticed that when I do speak French as a Black woman in my own city, the way people treat you if they think you're a guest is very, very different. So all I do is speak English. And yes, I have an accent. You guys hear my accent, but compared to French people, it's very, very different. So when they hear me, they're like, what? Who is she?
Right.
Where's she from?
And
Yeah.
there's no excuse for it. but maybe in their minds they're thinking, oh, well, she must be cultured. She must be educated because if she can speak multiple languages, like you have an accent, but you're speaking fluent English.
Exactly.
Okay, she must be worthy.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother conversation to unpack.
Yes, but
yeah.
I never. And what's funny is, when we go out with my mom and my sister, my little sister speaks English as well. My mom is always like, she have seen it. When my mom and I went to Morocco a couple of years ago, at the airport, she was, dealing with a lady at the airport store. And she was very nasty. Meanwhile, when I was talking to her, she was extremely nice. So eventually I was like, what's the difference between this woman and me? And then I said it to her in French in the middle of an English sentence. And she was like, mais tu parles français? I was like, no.
Clutches.
No. So we'll talk about this a lot, but just to show you how sometimes these excuse or like, I feel like in certain settings, people may bring you up or down based on your accent.
Absolutely.
In New York, when you have an accent, it's kind of like a vibe, or people feel like you're not from here. But also people will be like, it's America, speak English. Shut the fuck up.
Right. I went to school upstate New York. I'm going to tell people, oh, I'm Puerto Rican. They're like, yeah, I hear the accent. I was like, bitch, English is my first language.
I
but
think
now,
the man is your ghetto. That's
right. And now I will play that card. I was at the airport. They were like, you have to chuck this bag in. I was like, no habla inglés. So listen, I'll play that card when I need to.
Yes.
Feel no shame.
I always say the best scam is the scam that's using tools that people think may like offend you against them. Because at the end of the day, all of this, and I know there's a lot of immigration conversations happening right now. Look at us. We're the View now. We went from Wendy Williams to the View. Now we're the View.
It's giving range.
Yeah, it's giving range.
Right.
But a lot of times we talk about immigrations. Do you know how hard it is to move to a country when you don't understand the language, the system, the culture? And guess what? We'll still thrive. And today, this girl right here is an MBA NYU graduate.
That's it.
She's a Cornell postgraduate girly. She has a very good job. I think I do. If my boss, what's up, Tiff? Hey.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think people need to put some respect on immigrants, because it's like, if you're from a country, you grew there your whole life, you native in the tongue, right? You don't really know what it's like, to your point, to move somewhere else, learn another language. There are people in other countries that are speaking multiple languages. It's like, what? One language? What are you talking about? I speak English, French, Spanish. Yeah, like rattling off. Like, put some respect on. Like, when you really just take yourself out of your own shoes for a moment, like, you got to put some respect on immigrants. And I know we don't do that enough in this country.
And without immigrants anywhere, because I know France is going through it, and so is Italy, and a bunch of different nations. They're like, oh my God, immigration, but who is going to do the job? And no, we're not talking about your servers or your, no. We're talking about your doctors, your nurses, your professors, people like me, people who make sure that when there is campaigns, because I work in advertising, we are represented. So you better put some respect on my name, I beg.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, the topics of today, community, we just touched on it a little bit. Love and safety. Love for immigrants, safety. Oh my God. I feel like Barbara. Shout out to Barbara. Rest in peace. But 2024, as you can already tell, and my brain is all over the place, is going to be very tricky. So, I wanted to ask y'all, what is one of the topics that have, kind of like stood out since the beginning of this year? And also shout out to Taylor Swift's boyfriend who just won the Super Bowl. I had
Not
to.
Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
I had to.
Was it the Super Bowl or was it Usher's concert?
Right. Ooh, okay. Wow. All right. That's a hot topic because wow, it's like wow.
It was a good show. I mean, me and Usher, it's a long, but I love Usher. But besides the Super Bowl, which was yesterday, what are some of the main topics that you've seen in 2024?
People airing out business and drama, like the Cassie thing happened in 2023, but I think it just opened the door now for 2024, and people are coming full steam ahead. So I think it's a lot about like airing dirty laundry.
Ooh, yes, very dirty. Put some bleach on that bitch.
Right.
How about yourself?
I don't know. I think it's a lot about. I think people are starting to reap the repercussions of a lot of shit they did behind closed doors. Like, I feel like we've seen that in many places in politics as we move forward. Now it's an election year. We see that in pop culture. We see that in music. So I think this is the year of reckoning.
Yes.
And I think everyone better get ready. And I always say, whatever's done in the dark always comes to light. So
it's very true. Yeah, you know, when I was coming back from Europe, because it's very interesting to look at the news, especially American news, when you were somewhere else, and then the tea, right? So, of course, I came back to the Cat Williams interview on Club Shay Shay, which I think right now has about 50 million views, right? Which is a lot. And by the way, within 24 hours, it was only like a million or two or more, or whatever. And I think the interview came maybe a month ago. We have 50 mil, which is crazy. Now, some of you do not know, Cat Williams is a Black comedian. Loki grew up with him. I remember when I was in college watching him, pimping, and like, the dude with the silk press and anyway. And a lot of folks were like, oh my God, he just went to, Club Shay Shay to talk shit. Let's be very clear. He responded to multiple interviews about a lot of different things that other comedians and artists said. Now, you can never be upset about how someone replied from an attack, right? If you come slap me in the face and I decide to stab you, some may be like, why are you stabbing me, bitch?
Yeah.
Why are you slapping me? Right. The issue that I have with the whole Kevin Hart and a trend that I'm seeing from, you talk about 2023. The Color Purple came out. Taraji, she spoke her truth, which I think she had the right to. Again, Black actors, Black talent, period, actually, are still fighting to have the same rights, the same pay, the same glamour, blase, blase, blase. Right. So you came from this to the Oprah stuff, to the Cat Williams, and most recently on Club Shay Shay. By the way, Club Shay Shay is becoming the new Wendy Williams, low-key.
2024 is stepping on necks, okay?
Yeah, right.
It's February and already.
This man was a football player, right?
What's a neck?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now,
Sharon Sharp. Yep.
and listen, I've lived many lives. Many lives. So you never know. One day I might do the weather. Can you imagine if you see me one day doing the weather?
I wouldn't be surprised.
You wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be surprised.
She needs to check. But one piece of conversation that was so online, which was kind of sad. 50 million views, right? About a man kind of like spilling truth. And the thing is, Cat Williams may tell you a joke, but he may not tell you a lie.
Ooh. He did say he had receipts, and that's why he felt so comfortable speaking as freely as he did. So
yeah,
it's like,
if you're going to come for
have
people,
receipts.
please have receipts. And receipts come in many forms. Now, don't have sneaky receipts. That's the one thing, though. By sneaky receipts is, there are certain states, if you record people when they're talking to you and they don't know, you will go to jail, right? So I think that's the one thing which Monique kind of low-key did with Tyler Perry. But what I was saying is something that made me kind of be like, while the conversation was around, comedians and people who, were planted or like talk behind his back or trying to kind of like diminish his legacy, some folks, because I read comments a lot, number one, because it's my job, and I'm always curious just to see who is in the comments, even though sometimes it's bots. A lot of folks who are non-Blacks were talking about, well, see, they don't even like each other, which brought the conversations around what is the difference between accountability, meaning if you talk shit and not talk back, we have to be accountable. Because you're my people don't mean you're my kind, right? Not all kinfolk are kinfolk, number one. Keeping it real. Because you're my people, that doesn't mean you can continue to just talk shit and no. At some point in time, I'm going to have to check you, boo. And the third thing is telling you truth. Cat Williams went through a lot of different things. If you followed his career, he has some drug addiction, some jail, but he does a lot of things behind the scenes. So my question to you is, when you are a celebrity or someone who has a little bit of weight in your community, right? Do you think it is fair game to speak your truth out loud and or kind of, lay your dirty laundry in front of everyone if you know that at a cultural or community level is going to be negative? For instance, Cat Williams felt like I was attacked, so he defended himself. But he also gave people some liberty to then say, look, the Negroes over there, they don't like each other. And we have to talk about, we have to talk about the climate that we're in. And that's my thing. Why is that when we are people, right, Black people particularly, when one person does wrong, all of us are terrible.
Right.
I have never seen this narrative from anybody else. When was the last time we've heard about somebody from the Latino community that did something terrible, and all of a sudden we're questioning J-Lo, right? You know what I mean? So what do you think that is about?
That happens. I come collect J-Lo regularly. So I don't know. Like, but I feel you.
Yeah. So why?
Okay. So for me, I think when we talk about approaching something in a public forum, I think doing something without tact is not beneficial for our communities, right? I think one thing that the Black community has done, the Latino community has done, is that we have alchemized our pain into so many beautiful art forms, right? So I think, do I need to get onto live and come and collect you on social media? No. But I'll make a whole album about how much you suck, and it's going to be a number one seller.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you know, there are different ways to go about it. You know, like if you want to do something public, find a way that there is a message, there is a way to go about it. There is tact, you know? And then you call them up on the phone, you be like, yo, listen, why you did that?
Yeah.
That hurt me. But I'm going to drop this album, you know, just know I'm coming for you. And then you can make the, you know, and if you do it right, we can all win. But I think, again, growing up, my mom always said, what happens in the house stays in the house, right? And when you leave outside this house, y'all are best friends. It don't matter.
Yeah.
You know? And so I feel like finding the balance between the two, you know, holding people accountable. And accountable is like, listen, intention. I'm really big on intention versus impact, right? Your intention could have been one thing, but your impact was something else. And when your impact, you know, hurt somebody, be like, damn, that was messed up. I gotta eat that and apologize. You know? So I think finding all the balance between all of that.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I think this has roots in Black exceptionalism, where we have to be the best at everything.
Yes.
And that is a heavy burden to bear, because society in general right now is a very public society where just going to the store, flushing the toilet. Like,
True.
Like even the man and his girlfriend that was living in the storage unit, you could have kept that. Oh, I clearly have ruffled. You could have kept that on the low.
Yes.
If it was really about just having shelter, you know, you wouldn't put it on blast, because what happens? You had to go put it on TikTok. You got kicked out. Now, he said he had his reasons for that, but everybody puts everything on blast. So to me, this is falling very much so in line with the trend of society. So why is it any different when we do that? Now, with that said, I grew up like you. What happens in this house stays in this house. I don't put my business on, you know, the internet like that. So I think that that's just something to consider. It's like, are we representing ourselves in the best light? A lot of these people have each other's number. Like, that's the comment you always see. Like, you have my number.
Yeah.
Why are you running to Instagram and all this stuff when you could have called me? So to me, to your accountability versus like, you know, just getting revenge type of comment, some of these people just want the attention. Some of these people are doing it for clout. Some of these people are doing it for ego. Because if they really wanted the situation resolved, a lot of them could have resolved it privately. Now, if someone attacks me in a public manner and it's like, don't come for me unless I send for you, now I feel like at that point you made it a public thing. And it's up to me now if I want to resolve it privately or publicly, because you opened the door in a public way.
Agreed.
Okay, you know what's not fair though? Also, on the other flip side, now I know I was arguing one thing, but what's not fair is that white folks do real stupid stuff, and they all don't get, it's like they get to freely mess up on their own without being accounted for the whole white population. Yeah. And sometimes like that's unfair. And I could honestly say I do sometimes envy that. Like it's so much pressure that we get put under. And like all of us sitting on these couches work in really prestigious, you know, settings where we are probably one of the only women of color. And so it's so hard. I can't just freak out like someone else. I can't just, so, you know, I think that's the also flip side of it, you know, and I'm going to be completely transparent. I do envy them, you know, and, you know, I'm trying to do what I can to make room for everyone else. But, you know, those are I think it's like the two.
Everything that you need to know about America, I feel like I can sum it up right now in what you just said. The fact that a group of people went to the Capitol, stormed it,
Baby.
Someone lost an eye.
Someone died. Someone died.
Died. Right? And then the man who was responsible for this is likely going to be the nominee for the Republican Party again.
Insane.
It's just true. And
it's making the argument that he should have immunity at that.
Yeah. And to add to that, not before even the man who allegedly, because, you know, he had money from good lawyers and I don't. The people who, you know, went and took over, broke down to offices and peed and shit and whatever, also had the audacity to go to prison and say, by the way, I have a low carb diet. So when you're giving me the food, can you just make sure you go to Trader Joe's? And they did.
That is America.
The fact that there is a young boy who went to a black church, waited for people to to finish praying,
right,
shut every single one of them. And they went to Burger King.
No, it's true. It's so true because to me, like all this feuding between celebrities is akin to like the Love and Basketballs of the world, like in terms of like not Love and Basketball, like what is the
Love and Hip Hop?
Yeah, Love and Hip Hop shows. But to me, that's kind of like the Honey Boo Boo shows where it's like you're seeing
different,
white people.
yes,
yeah. And so, but when we do it, it's just 10 times worse than when they do.
Yeah. So I want to say that, clearly because we are, women of color here, I'm just so sick and tired of always having to represent every single one of y'all. Because when I am, because, number one, 50 shades of black, but 50 shades of, we're not a monolith. We already know that. So for anyone who will continue to watch or get into our spaces, because that's the thing, we are super welcoming. Last year, I was like, for 2024, I'm tired of being like, come to the cookout just because you can.
Stop inviting people to the cookout.
That's what I said. Love the
Leave
door.
your macaroni salad and raisins at home. You are not invited to the cookout.
And your boiled chicken, we don't want it. The thing is, we're very inviting, but us inviting you to our conversations is to show you that, yes, we can, make sure that we keep each other accountable. Because let's be very honest, when the Kanye West, people are very, very upset. But some other groups make sure that they stand on fucking business, right? So in that case, whether it's Kat or Monique, and I also have my own, views about Monique. I don't know you, girl, so please don't come for me. You and Daddy, don't come for me. But I just want to make sure that, stop using one person in order to make an argument and a narrative about others. Because if we start doing we will never, ever forget years and years of oppression and then rape and murder. And last time I checked, you're trying to raise Black history, DEI programs, especially us as DEI professionals. So let's just keep in mind that if one person fuck up, that's them.
Right.
And if one person wants to stand on business and, as you mentioned, publicly attack or respond to attacks, they have the right to. Kat, DM me. I want to go to a show. I want to go to a show.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm talking about,
Well said.
We're talking about shows. Some of y'all, I not tease that. My favorite thing to do is to talk about side chicks, which actually somebody was like, you talk about just the other woman so much. Are you one? Or have you ever been one? Bitch. First of all, we're African. We can have 17 wives. The gag is. But no, because I understand, as you mentioned, 2024, right? The world is very different. Some of you just did Valentine's Day, or some of y'all will do your Valentine's Day lunch because he can't be with you after nighttime. You got to pick up the kids at school.
Valentine's Day lunch?
He can't. You got to pick up the kids. You got to pick up the 3 kids he got with me.
The prefix menu.
Yeah.
Chocolate mousse. Thank you.
Oh boy, at Olive Garden. Also, really quickly, because again, if I see girlies, hello, hi. Stop being like, we don't want flowers for Valentine's Day. We want cars and we want.
Yourself.
Yes, I want flowers. Flowers are beautiful. They brighten up a room and they're so magical. Now, if you want to fuck with motherfuckers, we're going to get you a Birkin bag and a car. That's fine. Me, I will take some flowers, some love, some safety, some I love you, babe.
Right. To that point, it kind of annoys, not kind of, it does annoy me when people get on these podcasts or public forums and they're like, women want, men want. No, say I want.
Oh, wow, I love that.
My man wants. Stop speaking for all of us. That gets on my nerves.
Really does.
Women want 50-50 or women want to do. No, speak for yourself.
No.
I'm going to speak for myself. You don't know what I want. I don't know what you want.
What you want?
Oh, on what topic? That 50-50? Oh, Lord, because that's the...
And that's the thing that also...
That is the topic.
But I know it's a topic, but I'm
everybody
so
wants to
also
bury.
doing this because a lot of you are also just assuming that in this 50-50 conversation, well, number one, sometimes you meet someone and you're like, I want to get married one day and I want to have kids, right? And then this one person is going to be like, oh, I'm not. Who said I wanted that with you? Ooh. Maybe when I met you, I said, eventually down the line, I want all of these things. But Jamal
over there eating his Wheaties like, what did I do? I'm out here catching strays.
Jamal, I never said I was with you. Because guess what? Just like any human, you go through phases. Sometimes you want to be in love.
You want to be in lust?
Sometimes you want to be in lust.
That's right.
And sometimes you just want someone who's going to listen to you because you're a depressed Black girl with ADHD who loves to get high and wear her furs at home.
And no shade, but I feel like I just got to get this off my chest. Some of the people having these conversations are so dusty. And it's just like, you got a lot of nerve to be having some of these conversations as dusty as you are. No good job, no anything like.
Yes. Women are single nowadays because you cannot be at home and you cannot let the men da. First of all, in the 1950s, 60s, women were not allowed to have bank accounts. So the reason why men were paying, it was by law.
History lesson?
That was in America. That was by law, number one. Number two, in especially Black households, education is very different. So you had to pick who was going to go to school. Right? So y'all talking about this woman in the good old days, because I had the comparison of, well, can you build me a house? There are some men who cannot build you a house, but they will build you a business plan, right? So when you're talking about we want women to return back to submission, I'm going to tell you right now, I am very, alpha and blah, 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 which is going to go to my second topic. I'm very alpha, right? I'm leading my work in my life. I'm also the first daughter as an African woman. The first daughter is the mom. Fun fact, I have my dad's mom's name. So my family calls me mom, right? Like my mom calls me mom, my dad calls me mom. So I also carry like the mom thing. Yeah. It's a thing in my family. So if a man was to come to me and be extra I hate it. Yeah. I hate it. In a relationship, some of my friends have seen me. They're like, oh my goodness, I'll cook, I clean, I'll bring your plate. I'll cater to you like Beyonce said. That's okay. But you need to find the man that's going to be able to, quote unquote, break that mold. Right? And again, we live in New York. So at the end of the day, if I'm a little bit aggressive and I tell you, bro, chill the fuck out, chill the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean, everything is specific to your relationship. You have to do what works. Like, I know women who go to work and their man stays home with the kids. If that's what works for them, that's what works for them. For me, like, I know that I'm attracted to men who are ambitious and, so that wouldn't, who are ambitious, who would probably have like a high-paying role at his company or be an entrepreneur, what have you. But that's what works for me.
Yes.
Right. So my boyfriend, when I got to a place in my life where I was like, I want a partner. I don't need and I needed him to understand when we first started dating, I don't need your money. I don't need nothing from you other than to be here with me. Understand that. I don't need anything from you other than to be here with me in life. And we're both Caribbean. And so there's a lot of things we had to pull back, right? That we've understand and learned about each other. But I think what I've learned, what helps me break my mold of needing to be this hard bitch all the time. Well, I don't need I'm like, no, okay, cool.
I do need you.
I do. And I need someone who is intentional about their love.
Ooh.
And I'm going to repeat it. Being intentional about their love.
Aww.
This man has completely changed my view on things. I have changed his. And it feels like a partnership. It feels like I water him and he waters me. And there's been years he puts me on his back. He said, bitch, I'm going to carry us through. And there are years I put him on my back and said, I got you, boo. And being able to, have that relationship and have that with somebody is important. And so I think, again, being intentional and having someone, allow you to pull back those layers. It's a special kind of person to, and again, it's not for everyone. And but I think when you find it and it's right for you, it really works.
Yeah. And it's like you found your person and that's why it works.
Yes.
People need to stop trying to fit their relationship into a mold that they're seeing on these podcasts or somewhere on Instagram. Like, you have to know yourself first.
Right.
And then you find that person who fits well with you and who you can continue to grow with. Yes, because people evolve over time.
Yeah. A lot of it is also very cultural, right? Yes. And also religious based. Yes. So there are folks who their love and their relationship is based on their culture, how they seen mom and dad, or like their religion, like, how it's written or whatever the case may be. So I always give grace and patience. And one thing that we had like in the topic is also, do you feel like you need to be fully healed to be in a relationship? You said that you changed because you met the person, and like sometimes he carried you, sometimes you carry him. I think it's very important at some point in time, right? We talk about trends and patterns. If you've been dating people times after time after time and something doesn't work, just like any data or any A/B testing that we do, you need to sit down and say, okay, what is not working?
Right.
Because sometimes it might be you. And sometimes it's because you're carrying trauma here, and you have all this partner trying to figure out like what it is. Because I know I've done this, right? For a very long time, men I dated, whatever they liked, I liked. What? You love baseball? Oh my God. I love baseball.
Take me to the ball game.
Oh my God, I love baseball. Oh my God. You drink beer? Oh my God, I love beer. Okay, so Coors Light. And then eventually, and that's when the type of men I liked, they saw the switch. That's when they was like, oh, you're too bossy. I'm not too bossy. I now finally know what I like.
Yeah.
And that's not that. Especially because I was dating a particular type of a little bit more old school African man, which I love. That's my thing. That's, But I realized I needed someone who was healed beyond some of these African molds to realize we live in the new times. So now African men who are kind of like living with the days and age of today's society, for me, are much better. But do you think that, in order to be in a relationship, you need to fully heal? Maybe not fully healed because trauma, not even trauma, just life takes forever and a day. Yeah. But if you met someone who told you, I just got out of a very toxic relationship, and then you feel like this is somebody you want to be with, would you give them the time to go do what they do? Or would you work it out with them?
Okay, so I have a brief story. So I was in a previous relationship. We were together for a long time, and I think that there was like some internal trauma I was trying to work through, and like essentially like culturally, we weren't aligned, and his family, they wanted him to be with someone of his ethnicity. They wanted him the same culture, and so they often didn't recognize me, and
wow.
I stayed in that for a really long time, and I was like, no, I was like, and I think maybe internally I was like, if I can change this, if I could change their culture, maybe I'm important, right? And so like I peeled back those layers a little bit, and as I got into my new relationship, there was so much. There's so much that I started to realize about myself. And I don't think you ever heal from that, right? I think that was a deeper trauma that I can't fully put on him, that I am trying to rewrite the wrongs for. And so when with the relationship I'm in now, I had to acknowledge sometimes we'd be mid-fight and I'm like, the call's coming from inside the house. I'm like, it's me. I'm the problem. I don't know how to live with peace. So I'm gonna be
that's a moment. That's an insight right there.
Yes.
Okay.
So it took me some time to acknowledge that I'm not perfect. Don't ever let him. I'm not gonna tell him to watch this episode.
Right.
But
I'm gonna text him.
So, I feel like, was I fully healed in, to be in the current relationship? No. But that man held up a mirror to me and I couldn't escape it. I couldn't run anymore. I had to sit with it.
It's a good man, Savannah.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's where I feel my personal experience.
That's good accountability.
Yeah.
Right. Accountability.
I would say I wouldn't expect anyone to be perfect. I don't come into a relationship perfect, but some of the work has to be done, right? You have had to start that healing process because I'm not trying to be with someone's son and raise him and do the work that, his parents should have been doing. And he shouldn't have to do that with me either. Like
yes,
we have the accountability and the responsibility to ourselves just as people, right? To start doing that work to kind of identify what are our areas of opportunity so that you can walk into it and be like for me, communication was something that I struggled with like in the earlier stages of my life. And I had somebody tell me like, listen, there are things like basic things that I'm asking you and you're having a hard time answering them. And I'm like, you're right. Like I am very uncomfortable. And now I'm at a place in my life where I talk about those things so much more freely. It was work that I had to do.
Yeah.
And it took someone identifying that to me.
Right.
And that was an old relationship so that walking into new spaces, I can even say like, that is something that I've had trouble with in the past. I've made significant headway in it. But if I ever run into an issue, it's because it was something that I struggled with, but I'm making progress.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. And I wouldn't expect a man to come to me perfect, but I would expect for him to be able to identify certain areas because there are things that would have come up in other relationships.
Right.
Yeah.
Give me a heads up. All right?
Yes.
Please.
Like honestly, every time I meet someone that says my ex was crazy, I'm like, what did you do to make them crazy?
That's it.
Because you think I came to your house and you have a snowstorm for no reason? True story.
Because that's the one thing I will never believe when a man, because I've had men tell me that before. Oh, she was so crazy.
Like, what you did?
Listen, there are people, men and women, who are crazy. but a lot of times there's something that made them crazy. There was an impetus, right?
Yes.
So you're not telling me the full story, and now that's going to make me question, because me, I'm a pick and I'm a prod, and I'm going to ask all types of questions.
I'm going to take notes on my phone.
Because let me tell you, my favorite saying is make it make sense. And if that story doesn't make sense, because unless it was like, oh, well, I cheated and then she, okay.
Oh, so that's why.
So that's why she slashed your tires and, okay. Because not the story started one day I woke up, my tires were slashed. And what did you do?
Nothing.
What do you mean?
All I did was cheat on her with her sister. Like, she bugging. Like, come on now.
Story of my life. Allegedly.
Let's keep it real.
Allegedly. But that's true. That's true. So on that same token, if somebody does the work, right? And again, we've seen a lot of people who's been spinning the block. Shout out to Shanti and Nelly. But would you spin the block with an ex? Because if they've done the work, right? And people love to say it's the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't.
That's real though.
You know, the whole thing with Nia Long should have stayed but like, would you spin the block with an ex?
Okay, I'm happy you brought up Nia Long. So my thing is, if this person cheated on me, that's a deal breaker, because cheating, like, trust is foundational to a relationship. It's not that people aren't human and it can't happen, but I think that there are conversations that can be like, okay, well, I'm not happy with certain things. Let's work it out. Or maybe we need to take a break.
Yep.
But if this person cheated, you know, I find out in the worst way, for me, it's going to be hard to revisit that. But if it was a situation where it's like, I got a new job and I got to move cross country, it's not going to work, or we're just not seeing eye to eye, the person's immature, or maybe I'm immature.
Yes.
And we work it out, we go to therapy, or we just kind of grow, time goes by. That's something that I can revisit. But any place where this person caused trauma for me, this person tried to damage my self-esteem, disrespected me or my family, and then put hands on me. I never had nobody put a hand on me, but put a hand on somebody, like, that's absolutely not.
Yeah. It's a
chapter
yes, maybe.
closed.
Yeah. How about yourself?
I definitely think it's situational. Like, there are certain things you can't come back from. And I think my greatest currency is my energy, right? And so I've already invested so much energy in you. And if you did something to me, again, circling back to that caused me trauma, that's good. It's okay. I don't need it. I don't need to invest any more energy in you. But if we listen, it just wasn't it. It wasn't it. Now, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, revisiting that. But
it depends. Honestly, it depends. Yeah. If you really want to spin the block with the next because the wrong timing, I think that you also brought up like maturity. Sometimes people change and evolve.
Yes.
I think it's hard to spin the block with someone when, let's just say, it's maturity, because someone will always look at you like the person that you were before. I feel like it doesn't really. I don't know. I feel like no matter what, they will always look at you like this was KT at 25. You know what I mean? And you still may have those 25 like qualities, but if you haven't been a part of my life and my history for so long, then I have to catch up on all these things. Yeah. Unless you really, 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 really want to be with me. And again, as you mentioned, do I have the energy to try to fix the past? Ain't nobody got time for this.
But you know what? The dating pool is very ghetto right now. So the
dating pool is cool.
Let me actually go on this date with you and see if things can work.
No,
because it's real ghetto out there.
Back to her original dating pool. She said back to
as my previous email.
Right.
Talking about relationship and safety, because I feel like it's a lot about safety. I started by saying that, like, it is an election year. There's going to be a lot of things going on. And besides love, people we spend the most time with are at work with our colleagues. And I remember how it was in 2016, I came to work. And I remember, like, at the time we started the meeting after the result of the election with, like, a moment, like, yo, guys, because there was just so much. One thing we learned about Trump, whether you love him or not, is he did give people more liberty to say and act a particular way, right? And I really feel like, even though we live in New York and we are very protected in New York, I do worry a little bit about what those safety is going to look like in the workplace, right? And so I want to talk about, we all work, in marketing, creativity, advertising. So we're kind of like liberal-ish, but not everybody has that. So I want to take the moment to talk about what the safety looks like or should look like in 2024 as we are approaching the election, because we don't know what's going to happen in November. right? And especially as minority groups, we've seen there's a lot of attacks on DEI, on LGBTQIA+, on women's rights, and there's going to be a moment where this come as you are is not going to be possible.
Yeah.
Because number one, the law may not allow you to. And I love freedom of speech. But freedom of speech in America is very, very tricky. So beyond freedom of speech, and what we want to respect everybody, as women are in the position that we have. Because we really do impact messaging.
Yeah.
We really fucking do. A lot of the spots that I've done, people are like, oh my God, that made me cry, that made me feel. So, and all of us who are listening are young professionals, So what are some of the pointers that you think would be good to give listeners to foster a safe environment as we're leading up to the elections, whatever the outcome is? And we'll do like a couple of minutes on that.
Okay, so for me, I think one of the greatest things to come out of the pandemic was this ability to have remote work, right? And I think that, we have to be honest that sometimes I can't put my face together today. I can't pretend like I care. I need to be in a safe in a place in my home in which I feel safe and secure. And now, as we move back into the office, a lot of people want, they want them to be back in office. They want them to just be there because I don't know who told you to renew the lease for the building, but that's not my problem, okay?
Sounds like a you problem.
Right, not my problem. So I think, one, if you can, allow the people on your team, if they need to work from home, let them do it. Fight with whoever you need to. As a good leader, you fight for your people and you say, no, listen, they gotta work from home this week. That's not it.
So, because we both work in the same world, as a creative, do you feel like it's more beneficial when you guys are like workshopping together? Because I would admit that there for certain project and certain things, being in a room together is more like woo-wah versus being remote. But as an actual creative, what do you think about being in a room versus not being in a room while you're in the middle of the making the sauce? Because that's the main argument not for all jobs. And again, not all jobs have the liberty to do remote, but we're talking about things where if you can, and let's be honest, during 2020, I worked so much how some of the best work, some of it was Emmy winning.
Yes.
And that was all from the house.
Yes.
Right.
Not winning Emmys from the house.
Right.
Sure did.
So I think for me, one, it's taken me a lot, but I'm going to show up as who I am, no matter what. And I feel a lot of things. I'm surprised I haven't cried on this couch just yet.
Oh, you will come one day.
Right. I go into the office a lot. That's because I'm an extrovert. I like to be around people. But I've also learned that works for me, right? And what I love more so about creativity is I love the people I work with, right? We can't control our budgets. We can't control our timelines. We can't control the client. But the one
Be
thing
careful
we
you're speaking
can,
to a former PM.
right, the one thing we can control is how we all work together, how we make each other feel.
Say that one more time.
The one thing we can control is how we work together, how we treat each other.
Yeah.
And I think if done correctly, I think, again, on a statistical level, the fact that we all are working at this one job at this very moment, in this very time, is insane.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're all here to create something is important. If we do it right, we can really help each other heal, be the best versions of each other. And I'm really big on that. Okay. So I'm okay with showing, this is how I need to show up. If it needs to be in person, that's fine. But I hold that to myself. I don't hold that to the other people around me. And if they need to work from home, I'm like, all right, well, what's the best time to reach you? You want cameras on, cameras off? What you want? I'm going to have my camera on so you can see my face, so you get my energy back. You know what I'm saying? And so I do not.
Give people the choice, basically. You're talking about choice.
Yeah, choice, and allow them to be who they are. And I think that's really important, is allowing people to flourish in their own way. And, I know it works for me, but that works for me, and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But to me, I think a lot of the concepts that you're saying, and people may disagree with me, but I feel like it's something that is more common amongst Gen Z and millennials, like this whole come as you are. And a lot of the leadership, at least, where I think a lot of us work, are, boomers are like, they're not in our generation. And so I've read articles where people are like, you guys are so entitled for thinking that you should be able to continue working remote. Like they're viewing it as an entitlement.
Like you should be thankful that we're allowing you to.
But I'll speak for myself. Like, to your point, I did my best work. My best work. Like part of my job has a business development component. A large part of my job. I've raised more money remote than I have in person. And it's like, make it make sense, right?
Right.
And as society changes and, we've talked about this, we've read this, like Gen Z, like younger people under 30 are taking over corporate America. So we are going to see that shift eventually. So we may not reach that psychological safety
Just yet.
but it's coming. It's coming. It's inevitable, right? This change is inevitable. And so it will happen eventually by force.
Yeah.
And so it's either like these employers, leaders can get with the times, or one, like this incoming workforce, they're going to shift to jobs where that culture already exists.
True.
Until corporate America is forced to move with, the tide of things.
Yeah, I agree. And if you think about it, when I'm interviewing candidates, they interview me back. Back in the days when you were interviewing,
Yes.
you were like, it was a one way.
Yes.
It was like, you want me. So yes, I was like, you like baseball, I like baseball. Now they're
give me
like,
the job. Just
yeah,
give me the job.
yeah. Now they're like, how about your culture? How about this? And a lot of places are now doing remote, a few days in the office. I really feel like if your productivity, because there's also numbers, right? I feel like data. Look at what is the best work? Was it in person? Was it not? Again, key important meetings, we can totally do it in the office. If there is not a need, because we're also fighting so much to create a new culture, you have to make sure that the culture is done by the people. Because we had a lot of folks who are fighting for things that are outdated, as you mentioned. And then you have motherfuckers in the office who are just fucking miserable and dying of COVID. Like, fam, stay home, like I did. I was sick. And that's also, coming into play of like safety. One more thing I want to say, because I'm also looking at the clock. You see how 1 hour goes by fast? I think we have how long? About 8-9 minutes? Okay, this is our producer, Wolf. Rawr. Fun fact, I went to school at UNR, and our mascot was a wolf, Wolfpack. Yes, I'm a Wolfpack. I went to school with Colin Kaepernick, and JaVale McGee, and Bernard Marshall. People always be like, how do you guys have so many big athletes? I have no idea, but shout out to y'all.
Side note, this was on my mind. Then you mentioned Colin Kaepernick. So I have to say, what happened to all the taking a knee, Black people protesting the Super Bowl?
Well, Colin is no longer playing, which is a long story, and he's be fighting. Oh, you mean like the other people?
No, I'm just saying like
In general.
us as people of color who were sort of protesting the establishment of the Super Bowl. And now it's just like we are more into it.
Yeah,
And I don't want us to go off tangent, but that was something
Yeah.
that's been on my mind.
I think that very quick, because I don't think we have time. I feel like everything comes in trends, right? Literally. Me personally, I felt like during 2020 to 2020, early 2022, there is all this focus on like Asian hate and, Black people and all these things, because people felt like, oh my goodness, the world literally stopped and people could focus. Now there's too many distractions. This podcast could be a distraction. Go feed your kids.
That's a good point.
Go feed your kids, by the way. I feel like people are like jaded with so much information that they forget the root of it. And also the climate that we live in is extremely different. Right? For me, sometimes in particular places to play because I'm a Black woman, even though that's the moment, sometimes I'm scared because I'm going to hear but the reality is sometimes it's hard to hear the truth because sometimes you might be the problem. And that's the reason why we have all of these DEI, program and stuff who are being erased. Yeah. This is why you have women's rights who are going backwards.
Yeah.
This is why there is so much shit about trans people when they've existed for millions and millions of years. And yet sometimes going to be a crazy trans person, do something crazy in the bathroom, but that's not always the case. And no matter how you pray, how you eat, how you love, mind your damn business. Because when you die, if you do believe in God, it's not going to be you, your mama, your cousin, and your trans neighbor. It's going to be you. And guess what? The list of sins that you have, baby.
That's it. The world would be a better place if people just minded their own business.
Why I love being nosy too.
My business.
That's right. So talking about business is also because I want to end on a good note. Two things very quickly. And then I'm going to end this podcast with a bunch of different facts because I realized that a lot of us podcasters, while we're great, we look good and it's very entertaining, stop talking non-fucking sense. Ooh. Or start with, this is my opinion. Okay? Unless you are a trained professional about a particular topic, again, we're not experts, we're not doctors, we're not coaches, you're going to end up following motherfuckers like Derek Jackson, who was having an affair. Talking about, this is why a Black woman, excuse me, who? Excuse me, where?
The hypocrisy.
Bitch, please. one thing I want to say about my social media rant of the day is, can we stop with the tattooing people's face on your cheeks?
Christian Rock, they're talking to you.
Yeah, and there was another bitch who was like another TikTok bitch. Fuck it. The whole my kids are gonna watch this. They ain't.
Selena Powell did it.
Yes,
too.
but why?
Yes.
So quickly, have you ever thought about
chasing.
tattooing? Yes, tattooing a partner's name, face on your body parts.
Hell to the no.
Thank you very much.
Hell to the no.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking not. I'm so sorry. It really required that. Absolutely not. Like,
and I'm going to ask the people, like, can somebody who's done it, can you please explain to me? Because I understand people who have eventually tattooed I understand like a name, which is very popular. People would love to do names and cool, right? It could be an auntie, you can cover it. But like someone's face?
Right. I mean, I don't like face tattoos for myself. Of course, everybody do whatever you want. I mean, it's just... it got to go with the outfit. It got to go, you know what I mean? My mood.
The outfit.
Like sometimes I like to switch my look. Imagine I'm doing like a proposal for my business somewhere and, I got a tattoo and it's topic of conversation. I don't want that. But much less someone's name who could be transient in my life. Like I can have this bad breakup. This person could cheat on me, anything. And I got to look at their face or their name every day when I wake up. I'm not even putting my child's name, much less an ex, right? Like if I'm putting any human being's name, it's going to be my mother or my kids.
Yes.
But even that, it's going to be like a little cute, dainty tattoo. But that's my personality and my style.
So I love to say we don't judge, but we are judging every single one of y'all who have your partner's face on your body. We are. I am. Like I can't. Talking about like, because I feel like these are crazy in love.
And I'm just gonna say, make sure you cover that tattoo up if you get somebody new. Imagine making love to a new partner and they looking at
Face is looking at you.
Actually, she said
not.
Actually, do you remember? You guys know Adrienne Houghton, Adrienne Bailon.
Oh,
She had Rob Kardashian's full name.
Like Houghton, who?
She covered it, and he was on her ass too, babe. And she got ass. Very quickly, what is? Because I'm also interested of like craziest things you've done in love, or because we want to end on a good note before I talk about facts. Either share the craziest thing you've done when you were in love, or one of the worst first dates you ever had.
Only worst? What about best? It's
Yeah.
Valentine's.
Okay.
Can I give
All
you
right,
a best?
best.
All right. So it has to be the first date because...
Well, first, yeah, just...
Okay, I'm going to try to
dates.
keep it quick. But essentially, I went to a gala and I met a guy. He was hosting the gala. Very handsome guy.
Be careful, because some of us know you're a gala, so I'm going to try to do the math.
Don't do the math. Stop doing this. Mind your business.
Yeah, my thing.
And I was actually there with my best friend. And so after the event, he was like, let's grab like breakfast or whatever. You know how parties, like events, like they'll end at 1 in the morning, whatever. And I was like, but I have my friend and I don't want to leave her. And he's like, she can come too. So the three of us got breakfast, right? And yeah. But then we go our separate ways. But then we went on an official date. So he had work and it was at his house, which is a setup.
Okay.
I feel like for some people, but no, I didn't get set up. But he still had his suit on, which I thought was really good. And he made me gumbo. And like at the time, I wasn't eating like red meat or pork, so he did it with like chicken sauce, like all the things that
Intentional.
And it was like his grandmother's recipe.
Oh, that's nice.
And then like we had wine from like a vineyard that he visited. That was the most romantic. To have a man like cook for me from scratch. I'm like watching him cook.
And also remember
and
your...
he remembered that I liked seafood, so he made me a seafood cup. And he had an itinerary for our date. And then it was like, I'm going to cook, then we're going to watch. I've never had that before. And granted, he was like 7 years older than me. So I was like, is this what dating an older man is like?
Dating older men is magical.
And then... Like, he ended up being trash, like, later. He ended up being, like, no. But that initial, like, I was like...
He got you there. All right.
Wow.
Quickly.
All right, my
3 minutes.
My favorite first date. Boom. So it was this guy from work. And essentially I was telling this story and I was like, blah, 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 blah. And, he walked over, listened to the story, and he was quiet. And then I went back to my desk, got a little email, be like, hey, a whole bunch of us are going out tonight. Pull up. We're gonna go here. So I said, okay, fine. So I pull up to the after event, and I'm like, hello, and everyone's like, hey, Danny, what's up? And I sit right next to him, and someone stands up, and they put their cup up. They were like, okay, happy birthday, Brandon. And I looked at him. I said, yo, it's your birthday? He was like, Yeah, I just wanted you to come.
Aww.
And the rest was history. Yes, my man now. Shout out to you, Brandon.
Dropping names. Dropping names and everything. Side note, I love New Yorkers. The fact that you started that story with ice, so boom.
Yeah. ISO boom. We're married. My best date, actually my first date, we ended up in Canada. It was a never-ending date.
What?
Like, we started downtown. There used to be like this reggae club, and we kept going and going. And it was like, yo, there's this one thing that I in Canada. So we drove to Canada in the middle of the night.
That's mad.
We ended up staying together for like 2 or 3 days on the first day. He was trash at the end too.
Oh.
Dang.
But it was, I was like, this is like for a first date that lasted like 3 days, you know. So we're going to get to the end of the podcast. 2 things. Please like, comment, and follow us. I Don't Speak English Show on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Again, we have Danny, Adrienne, and Katie. And usually I end this with like the, positive story of whatever. But again, I'm trying to be a responsible citizen. So I want to share some facts. Okay? Did you know that by 2060, women of color are going to be the majority demographic, with Latinas leading and Black women after?
Eso.
Half of the Black population in the U.S. is under 30 years old. Did you know that? The richest Black neighborhood in the U.S. is in Maryland. Who would have thought?
I'm not surprised. PG County.
Right? North Carolina was voted by Best Black City for Professionals. Black women are the fastest growing entrepreneurs in America.
Get them bags.
Most Black-owned businesses are sole proprietor, which is like an individuals, which means they have no employees. And less than 5% of Black women have leadership positions, and we only make less than 2% of C-suite positions. Again, rewatch this. Listen to the facts. And I'm saying this because while we're out here beefing and talking shit about dating and spinning the block and this person talks shit, there are facts. And I'm going to keep spinning those facts episode after episode until the election and beyond, because I want to make sure that we stay fucking focused. Nobody gives a fuck about you having BV. You fucking your cousins. Nobody gives a fuck about how at some point in time women, we only want, no. Let's get focused, all right? And we're going to talk shit because, Loki, it's a revenge podcast. And please DM me. I'm still waiting for somebody to like, yes. We wear Pink on Wednesdays. Again, it's Katie. This is I Don't Speak English, episode 3. We love you. Thank you. And see you soon. Bye.
Fitness is a judgment-free zone. So come one, come all, and join us in fitness.
You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. Please check the number and try your call again.